David Shore told me one time, he said, Henry, there's two kinds of people in America, those who live in St. Johns County and those who want to live in St. Johns County.
According to the U.S. Census Bureau, St. Johns County's population passed the 300,000 mark last year. Liz Ryan spoke to Commissioner Henry Dean about the explosive growth.
Commissioner Dean has seen a lot of changes during his many years here, and the change in population certainly hasn't escaped his notice.
Over the last, say, 5, 6, 7 years, we had massive amount of new residents coming from really all 50 states, New York and Pennsylvania and New Jersey, even California and all over the country.
And all those people have to live somewhere, but not all of the new subdivisions we're seeing being built are because of the new population explosion.
We had large residential communities that went through the approval process roughly from 2000 to 2008. And then when the recession hit, everything slowed down. I would say for the last 10 years, most of the development that we've experienced has been a result of those projects that were approved 20 years ago.
He says he hears concerns about the rapid growth all the time, even from newcomers, and he gave an anecdote.
One of my favorite emails was, Dear Commissioner Dean, my husband and 2 children and I moved to St. Johns County a week ago, and you must do something about this uncontrolled growth or we're going to just be totally congested and end up like Broward County.
As much development as we're seeing already, there's a lot more to come.
We probably have at least 50,000 units that have been approved and will be built out over the next several years.
And that's going to mean a lot more new neighbors.
I'm guessing over the next 5 years, the possibility of another 100,000 people.
I learned a lot from my chat with Henry Dean, and I'll bring you more from our conversation in the coming days. For St. Augustine's Local Morning News, I'm Liz Ryan.
This local news is a service of your hometown Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota US 1 St. Augustine, here to wow you. Florida's 6th District Congressman questions the Assistant Secretary of Defense for International Security Affairs on military aid for Ukraine.
Michael Waltz asked Celeste Wallander about the lack of burden sharing between the United States and European allies.
We continually push NATO allies to do their part, both in the NATO context and in support
But Madam
of
Secretary,
Ukraine.
we've been pushing for decades across multiple administrations, and sending strongly worded memos over tea and crumpets in Europe isn't getting the job done. So here's what I need you to take away. This continued support is at risk domestically, politically here, if we don't see the administration getting results, not asking forcefully. And you need to understand that there is a domestic issue here with continued support to Ukraine, given everything that we've done.
Waltz then asked about a potential Russian attack on a NATO member country.
Fair to say that the 31 most modern militaries in the world in a strengthened NATO alliance that many people in this room have celebrated could handle the remnants of the Russian military should it decide to take action in a NATO country or be aggressive in a NATO country. Fair to say? They can't take all of Ukraine. I don't see how they could take a modern European.
We should not make the mistake of underestimating Russia's military capabilities because the stakes of getting it wrong are too high.
Waltz says the NATO countries could stand their own ground against Russia without additional U.S. military resources. For St. Augustine's Local Morning News, I'm Rich Petchke.
Preservationist Leslie Keys will be honored next week. The St. Augustine City Commission will present Keys with the 2023 Adelaide Sanchez Award for Historic Preservation and Restoration. Keys worked as the Director of Historic Preservation for Flagler College for decades before retiring last year. She highlights her achievements.
Helping to raise the money and make the decisions on the preservation of many of the buildings on the campus. Certainly the solarium at the top of the Ponce that we finished restoration on a decade ago in honor of the quincentennial or 500th anniversary of Ponce de Leon the Explorer. Then we also hosted the King, Queen, and Spain there in 2015. The college has 19 historic buildings, and a number of those were acquired during the time frame I was there.
Keys also directed the first regional preservation office headquartered in the Governor's House. With St. Augustine's Local Morning News, I'm Amy Sherry.
And now you're up to date with St. Augustine's Local Morning News. I'm Rich Carroll.